Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pot of Gold podcast. Today's guest is Jessica Lauren Vine, and she's been building businesses since she was young. Recently, she pivoted and she spent 3 years running 7- and 8-figure companies for others. That detour did something she didn't expect. It showed her exactly what goes into a business of that size, and it also made what she wanted to build for herself look small in comparison, very possible to accomplish. So she went back to building her own. Now she and her husband Joe run an Amazon influencer business. They film honest reviews of various products, some that they use every day, some that they merely demo just so that people can see exactly what a thing actually is like before they buy it. They run it from their home in Florida. Jessica is also the author of No Permission Required, Living Life on Your Own Terms. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited, and I'm like, oh man, there's going to be so many good conversations.
Well, I'm really excited to hear more about your story. I know a little bit about it just because we've been in the similar coaching programs before, and I've also kind of kept up with some of your posts on Instagram and other social media. And so basically what I like to do with the show is kind of get a little bit of your background for the viewers so that they can understand who you are and where you're coming from.
Sure. Yeah. I think if we rewind, just briefly touch on like childhood growing up, that little girl would definitely not have seen me running 7- and 8-figure businesses. And like growing up through like not going to college, like I thought you had to have an MBA and all these kind of things to run these huge businesses. And what I actually found is a lot of people that had MBAs never used them and ended up doing something else. So sometimes, we place those limitations on ourselves. We question ourselves and end up in some kind of strange spot anyway, probably proving something to myself. It's like, okay, I didn't believe I could do it. I went and did it. And then that's how, we ended up going through the entrepreneurial years, going and working for someone else, and then circling back around and realizing I don't want to work for anybody else. I, for one, tend to think that my ideas are pretty good. And that doesn't always mesh well with someone else that's very similar. Like, I think my ideas are pretty good. So sometimes that can be a tumultuous situation.
Kind of a point of friction, huh?
Yes, for sure.
Do you think there was ever a certain scenario or a point in time where you were like, okay, this is what I want to change and this is how I want to do it?
As far as whenever I was working for someone else and transitioning back?
Yeah, or like what made you decide you wanted to go back into business for yourself?
So there were a lot of things that led up to it. One of the things that I'm just a non-negotiable on is treating people right, telling the truth, not getting into gray areas. I'm like, it's either legal or it's not. Like, and I just wasn't willing to co-sign my character to certain situations.
Okay.
And so I tried to be agreeable and accommodating, but there are just certain things that were not just a personal preference. It was a matter of integrity. And I was like, I don't care how much anybody's paying me. I'm not going to keep quiet, and that'll get you into trouble sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I really like and respect that though, because one of the things that I hope to teach my son as he's growing up is to avoid doing drugs, right? And I understand that peer pressure is real. And one of the things that causes peer pressure is a person who's doing something like that is looking for other people to co-sign their behavior so that they feel better about the fact that they're doing it. And so the whole idea is to teach him, don't co-sign other people's bad behavior when you know what you need to do. Now, that's not going to prevent him from doing that. If he's going to be his own person, if he decides to do it, he will. But I'll at least give him the framework to understand this is the mechanism that's in place. And so the fact that you're saying, yeah, well, there's some things that I won't basically compromise on, I really like that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's scary whenever, you've been building towards something, because I always knew that I wanted to at least like have a stake in something. So I went into these conversations very much so like I am going to put my blood, sweat, and tears into this with the thought of being a part owner. And so I was getting paid, 6 figures and a little bit more, but I was also very much expecting equity ownership in the company and all those kind of things. So I worked myself to a frazzle, and I didn't see my family the way that I wanted to. My husband was literally having knee surgery, and people were like calling me while I'm in the hospital, like, waiting for him to get out of surgery. And I was like, what am I doing?
That moment
What
of
am
like,
I doing?
I built this life for myself and I'm not exactly sure how it happened, huh?
It was that whole thing of like you climbed up the ladder and it's on the wrong wall kind of deal.
Mhm.
And I was frustrated at that for a bit. So I was like, man, that's 3 years. But then I look and I remember when I started, I was terrified to run a meeting. I didn't know how to follow an agenda and get it to stay within time. I didn't know how to. I think the biggest thing was whenever I developed levels of leadership where I was coaching someone to coach someone. And I was like, I know how to coach somebody to do it, but now, oh my gosh, this is a whole new skill. I got to teach this guy who's never been in leadership before to lead his new team. So like whenever I saw what I was able to develop in that, I told myself, stop having a pity party and just realize the skills and the cool experiences that you've got to have because of it.
Yeah, definitely. I went into entrepreneurship, I'd say, with some rose colored glasses on, certain expectations that were probably not quite realistic. One of the mistakes I made is that I signed up for like 5 to 6 different coaching programs all at the same time. And I had to learn the hard way that I'm a single person. I only have so much capacity and I can't dedicate all of my focus and energy to all those things all at the same time. But at the same time, I've got the podcast that's been started and I've been able to start talking to people again because one of the reasons I actually did this was to kind of exposure therapy for the trauma that I suffered. When I was 18, I had the whole right side of my skull shattered by a schizophrenic roommate. And so as a result, I became kind of a homebody and I hid away from social interactions. And this has really helped me break out of my shell and kind of get over that trauma. And I've been developing soft skills along the way. So there are things that are kind of unexpected when you get into a journey like this that are still beneficial, even if they don't result in the thing that you were looking for in the first place.
No, it's true. It's true. And that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, cuz like anything like that it compromises how you feel safety in your body, that's terrible. And I'm like I might start crying cuz I've dealt with stuff like that, especially through my childhood and stuff like that. They're just really dark nasty things that happen that shouldn't happen to people. And just learning to feel that safety in your body again, it isn't easy. So kudos to you for just like getting out there and doing that exposure therapy because same, I've done the same thing and it's like, whoo, I'm surviving.
Well, and I think I have my son to thank for that because he showed up and all of a sudden there's somebody that means more to me than just my own comfort. And so that's an interesting thing to discover when you become a parent, is that all of a sudden there's these things that you're willing to do that you weren't before because you know that you have to set an example.
Yeah, it's like if I'm not going to do it, that will give them permission to also not do it. And yeah, it's really easy to do that. And I like my kids have autism and I definitely like I haven't gotten assessed and stuff, but I've definitely got ADHD and autism. And it's like before we noticed that and knew that, it was chaos. It was like everybody's sensory overload was happening. Like this one doesn't like to be touched on the back. This one, like, just like everybody has stuff going on. And I'm like, this is not like we're gonna die. But now, like, we've learned to communicate with each other. And it's like if I get highly agitated or whatever, I notice it and I catch that. And usually it's my 14-year-old. He's usually the one. I'll do it. Be like, Lee, honey, I feel some kind of way right now. Let's like, and he's like, oh, what did I do? I didn't even notice. It's like talking that through. Like it's wild. If you would have told me that like 3-4 years ago that we're gonna like have that interaction versus the chaos that was before, I'm like, I'm pretty proud of that development and being able to have all of us working together, realizing how we can help each other and not feeling less than, not feeling like, well, I shouldn't need this or that. Like I should just be normal. Well, that ship has sailed so far. Like,
Yeah, well, the thing about being normal is that you're just like everyone else.
yeah, I don't really want that. Like, how boring.
Well, no, I really like that you're saying that because there are things that happen along the way that add value to your life that aren't necessarily monetarily. And I want to say that it's more important to work on yourself than it is to work on your business. I do definitely agree with some of the things that Dan Martell has taught in that fashion. That's where I got that from, is from Dan Martell. And I realized also that it's easier to spend money to try to fix a problem than it is to change your ingrained behaviors. And so that's why you need to work on yourself, because those are the things that are going to hold you back. They're harder to change. And we like to think that money can buy anything, but there's certain things it can't buy. And one of those things is your own personal discipline. You can pay someone else to do things for you, but if you're looking to build muscles, you have to lift the weights. You can't get the coach to do it for you and have your body get fit. There's just things you can't delegate.
Yeah, I am on a course and coaching ban right now. Because it's like, I was telling one of my friends the other day, I was like, girl, I swear, I could have like a PhD or something in all the stuff that I have learned. And sometimes the coaching and the courses become a form of procrastination. And it's like, oh, just let me learn one more thing. Let me learn one more thing. And she was saying, it's like, I have so many things. I was like, did you sign up for another course? She's like, hey.
No, it's interesting when you're talking about this, because there is a gap. There's a gap between what we know we should do and what we actually do. And progress is made in shrinking that gap.
Yeah. I try what my goal is as soon as if I get on a coaching call or something, I take at least one or two things that I'm immediately going to implement, because if I don't, that's probably going to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Like it's gone. I have a whiteboard. I have another cork board, another one there. And it's just all stuff that I need to remember, because like with ADHD and stuff, I'll go in another room and I'll be like, I finished that, and I'll come back and I'll look at my whiteboard. That wasn't actually what I was supposed to be doing at all. Let me do what I was actually going to do. So it's hilarious.
It's all a process. You can't be perfect from the get-go. In fact, that was a problem that I had for a very long time, is this perfectionism. And I realized it was just an excuse not to start. Just afraid that things would be judged. And now I learned this from Mel Robbins, was do it scared, do it messy, do it imperfect, but do it anyway. And that really helped me. It was the permission I needed to get some of the balls rolling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The perfectionism and the fear of judgment, they're just holding hands all the time.
Yeah.
And they're usually trying to trip you. And it's like, I was talking about this the other day, because there was like this really nice, kind woman that I talked to, but I noticed that she had something like pretty negative to say about a lot of people that were doing big things. And I don't, and like, I'm just very empathetic and compassionate listening to what she's saying, because it's her truth. Like, she very much felt that way, but actually happened to know a couple of those people, and it wasn't at all how it truly was. But I was just like listening to it a little bit. And what I've come to understand in over these past 40 years of life is that whenever we're judging people, it's because that's what we're saying to ourselves.
Yeah, mirroring.
And it's like, oh, man, that sucks that you're so mean to yourself, And you can't really tell people that in the moment, but you can take that in the back of your mind and help them through as you're being their friend, and just offer different perspectives and stuff, because it is miserable. Like my husband grew up with a lot of judgment. His dad left before he was born, and then we found him through his obituary and survived by lots of babies, but not anywhere was my husband mentioned, because he never met him. And I'll not as much anymore, but I'll hear my husband like say something mean to himself, and I'm like, don't you talk to about my husband like that.
No, that's really nice, because my wife helped me with that too. I mean, after going through the head injury that I went through, there was a lot of internal bullying. It was like, yeah, well, you probably deserve that kind of thing to happen to you. And I mean, I don't see myself that way anymore, but there was a period of time where Nathanael was his own worst enemy, because he was always putting him down. So, but same. We talk a lot about my hiccups and some of the things that I've been working through on my business. What kind of problems have you run into starting your business as an entrepreneur, doing the Amazon stuff? How did you find that?
So in 2022, I came across this particular program. I'd been an Amazon affiliate, like an associate is what they
Mm-hmm.
call it, for a long time, and had blogs and stuff like that. I drove traffic to the offers and made money that way. But I was responsible for all the traffic, and I had to like write content and do all that kind of stuff. So I was like, "It's for the birds." Like, it's a lot of work. I've been doing this for a really long time. And then I came across this program and I was like, that doesn't sound real.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, well, it was so weird because like I could review first off anything that I had in my house that is listed on Amazon. I can just go review it, and when someone buys, I get paid, and it's listed like on the Amazon listing where Amazon and the seller are the ones driving traffic. I'm just the conversion mechanism.
Got it.
And I was like, oh my God, this is great. Because one of the things I used to do was sales.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I studied tons of sales and I wrote copy for years. Like, that was one of my main businesses, was just copywriting. So, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great, but hilarious. So this goes into the coaching program craziness. So in 2022, right at that same time, which is why I was laughing earlier, because it's like I can do all things every day, all the time. So right at that same time, it was like July of 2022, we joined a real estate mastermind.
Okay.
We spent an insane amount of money. We spent about half, like I'm going to choke. We spent about half of my previous year's annual salary
Wow.
to join that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like going back, I would have just joined the lower tier. They're like, "Are you crazy?" We did end up flipping 7 houses and like wholesaling a couple houses and stuff. So thankfully, we made our money back and then some. But at that same time, I heard about the influencer program and I uploaded 3 videos because that's what you have to do to get approved. And then I forgot about it. And then one day I'm like checking my bank and I'm like, what is this random? It was like a small deposit, but I'm like,
Uh-huh.
anytime I'm getting some random money, I'm gonna go
Where did
find
this come
out
from? Are they
what's
testing to
going
see if
on.
they can pull stuff out? Right.
Like, who knows? Because like I had also, okay, again, doing everything at the same time. I had also just released my book in June of 2022 called No Permission Required: Living Life on Your Own Terms. But hilariously enough, I didn't promote it at all because I just joined this mastermind and I didn't want this guy to think that I joined his mastermind to promote my
Just
book.
to promote your book.
So ridiculous. Like, I'm like, looking back, I'm like, ay. But so I had the book. It was out. It was there. Just nobody knew, which was so ridiculous. I've read it about 6 times since, and I think it was really just a published letter to myself. I have promoted it, and people have read it since then, but it's what, 4 years later. So the book's out, went to the mastermind, was in there for a whole entire year, flipped houses, wholesaled, that's how I ended up getting connected with the guy that brought me on to work in his wholesaling business. And then I kept just going up until I ended up running the thing, and then ended up running this other company, which he had me start up a wholesaling company. And then he's like, you're doing a great job, so you want to run my other 2 companies? And I was like, wait a minute. Are you
Triple my
talking about a home
workload.
what? Yeah. Oh, that's why I'm like, anybody who sees or hears this, please never take on additional, like, extra companies I've worked with promises of equity. Like, it was ridiculous the amount of work I was doing for this pie in the sky. Yeah. So like, don't do that. Get everything in writing,
Writing.
because
Yep.
like, and if people try to shame you for that and being like, oh, well, don't you trust me? Don't trust them. Like, that is it worked on me. Don't do that. I was like, no, I am trusting. Yes,
I
all
don't
the
trust
vibes are
myself
good.
unless I get it in writing, right?
Yeah, it's like, dude, just what's the problem? Why are you having such an issue putting this on paper, you know?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, don't do what I did. Don't do that. I've made the mistake, so you can learn from mine. It's much cheaper to learn that way.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but like I learned too that I could run any company. So like home exterior services, now I know about gooses and boots and all these kind of things in the house, and I'm like, architectural shingles, and which, I mean, that would have helped a lot whenever I'm flipping houses. I didn't even know what a baseboard was. Like, why do I need to know what any of these random things were? Well, contractors can see you coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
That's why. So thankfully, my husband knew a little bit more than me, or we probably would have been in lots of trouble. But it was just funny of how you process through those things. And so 2022, whenever I posted those first 3 reviews and the money came in, like just a few months later or something, I figured out where it came from. Well, that's cool. Didn't do anything with it still until like December of 2024.
Okay. A couple years.
And that, yeah, so I was like, now looking back, I'm like, oh, I should have so many more things, but I'm like, nope, do not live and dwell in the past. Do not, like, what is it gonna do? Can you grab me a time ship and let's just float back there and create some videos?
Yeah, you
No.
can't, what do you call it? Split test? You can't split test life.
Right. Oh my gosh, that would be an interesting thing. Okay, now you gotta know.
Yeah.
Now you've got me a whole nother thing to think about. New invention, life split tester.
That'd be nice, but it's just one of those things. You can't redo what you've already done. So,
Yes. So then, whenever we started posting those videos, I was working still at that first company, and I was like, I can do a couple videos here and there, but like we've got a lot going on. We got a big team. We've got stuff rocking and rolling. If a deal is calling and my team needs me to help close a deal, I'm going to be on the phone. So my husband was creating some of the videos and stuff, which is funny because the store is under my name. So it like I was like, you're gonna
who's
have
this
like a
guy?
personality
You don't look
disorder
like a
because
Jessica, right?
well, it's like so he's a certified chef. And so it's like he had lots of kitchen stuff coming. So it's like, see what my chef husband thinks about this, whatever it was. So he's like writing about himself as me. He's like, this feels weird. I was like, you're doing great. You're doing great. But we started seeing like, a little bit more money, like $300 $500 a month, just posting a couple of short little videos up. And I was like, hey, like let's give you more work to do. It's
Let's do
really
this. Let's
easy.
make it grow, right?
Yeah, so we started growing that a little bit, and then like I pretty much could not do anything after I took on the other 2 companies. So I was like, well, this is now have fun. Like cuz I'm literally crawling home and falling in bed, and my husband's like, "You must eat." And I'm like, "Food?"
Food, but
But no, it's really cool because we've been able to keep growing, and we literally get like piles of free stuff like all the time. I think we're up to about $20,000 of free stuff that we've got sent to us, and then making commissions on top of it. And since I decided to go all in on it, I'm actually starting to do another little bit of a strategy where I'm strategically purchasing products
so that you can review
so
them.
so that I can review them. And because you can request different products and stuff, but then you have to wait and see if I am so done with being picked. I'm like, I'll pick and I will grow my business in the way that I want to grow it. I want to grow it in a sustainable and scalable way.
Not
And
have to rely on somebody sending
yeah,
you something or saying yes or no,
yeah,
right?
like having those as bonuses, that's great. Like having that going on, and then as I've gotten a bank of reviews and gotten really good at doing it, I started having more brands reach out to me and like doing more paid brand deals, not posting on social media or anything, just
Mm-hmm.
creating the videos. And I may start doing some brand deals on my social media for stuff that I really, really love. Like I was like, I think I want to start like a goofy campaign of like Duolingo, please sponsor me
Yeah,
because I've been doing it almost for 2,000 days, and so I kind of want to like do like a screenshot and be like Duolingo. Who
yeah.
else could dare rep you as good as me?
So
So
I've had a
I don't
question
know. It'd
about
be fun.
these review products that you're getting sent. Are those things that you get to keep afterwards, or do you have to mail them back? Or I just figured the viewers would be interested in knowing that.
Yeah, we get to keep them. Or if, like, I have so many spatulas, I have so many cutting boards. My husband will not get rid of the cutting boards. I'm like, we
Some people
have,
collect stamps. Joe collects cutting boards.
he does. I'm like, we got stainless steel cutting boards, we got bamboo cutting boards, we got, I don't know what kind of wood that cutting board is. I'm like, There's literally a whole thing just of cutting boards. What are you doing? But he knows. He's like, no. For this goes with this knife because I can't use this knife with that because that will mess up this knife. And I'm like, okay, well, you do you. I won't touch any of your fancy knives because we might fight, and I don't need that aggression in my life.
Well, we all need our hobbies, right?
Yeah. I love that he's excited about that because I hate to cook. So I'm like, do your thing, chef. I'm your biggest fan.
That's fun. I like that. Okay, cool. What else about the Amazon review business would be interesting for people that you think might not be common knowledge?
I think everybody gets confused between there's Amazon Associates, Amazon Vine, and then there's Amazon Influencer.
Okay.
So I don't even know what Vine is because you have to be invited to it. And I'm not cool enough, apparently. So I don't know what that is, but it's like another type of review thing that's been around for a while. But the Associates is where you have to promote off the site and then send people over, and it's pretty easy to get approved for. You just have to like drive some sales afterwards and you're good to go. The influencer, they'll look at your social media, make sure that you can create videos decently well, that you have been around for a while and you're not just some weirdo that's going to upload some kind of craziness to their
Yeah, there's some
platform or something.
verification process going on.
Yeah, so it can take 2 weeks, a month to get verified through the whole process, but it's really cool. It's a really good opportunity. I think there's like, I don't know, 8 million products on Amazon. So there's plenty of things to review.
Mm,
And it's just so funny to me. I'm like, I don't know why everybody doesn't like at least apply.
yeah. Well,
So
it's
it's
opportunity
pretty cool.
cost again too, right? So if
Yeah,
someone's busy doing
exactly.
something else, then that can get interfering as well. Is there a quota that you have to meet of how many reviews in a specific time frame or anything like that?
No. I mean, you saw me. I just left for however many 2 years and came back, and it's still hey, okay. And they even put like a new program in place for bonuses while I was gone. So I was like, ah, good. Maybe I didn't learn to work with those peanuts.
Yeah, exactly.
I waited for the bonuses. Totally strategic.
Well, cool. What do you think is the future for you guys? What does that look like? What are your plans to make this something bigger than it already is? Are you going to be teaching other people about it? What's it look like?
So that goes back to the thing of where we were talking pre-show about monetizing everything.
Mm,
And so I like all of my other entrepreneur friends were like, "Oh my god, you could monetize teaching this." And so I literally created the course, got all the workflows, did all the things, and I was like, "I don't want to create content about this." I was like, this is full because I started creating content about it. And I'm like, I hate this. Like, it's just what I do. It's not what I want to share about. Like, I'm passionate about teaching, like, especially women, about don't reject yourself to protect yourself. I think you can hit with men as well. But so many of my lady friends are doing some stupid stuff and they're just like, well, like, I can't do that. And I'm like, why not? Why not? Well, I have no good reason, but I feel like I can't. I'm like, so it's like, I want to teach people that, teach people to live their someday dreams today and not, well, one day in the future. Like we moved from Tennessee to Florida because we wanted to. We've been here 2 years now. We're super happy with that. But a lot of mental anguish went
yeah.
into that. It's like, oh, I don't want to leave my family up here. And like, I know this place and oh, it's scary going all down there. We don't have anybody. Just like, weird stuff like that. And I'm like, remember, live your someday dreams today. Okay, I'm going. So those are the things I like to teach, and then just creating hilarious content. So that's what's going to be happening. It's like I put come for the laughs and stay for the life lessons.
There you go. I like that.
So yeah, that's what the future looks like.
So I like the idea that you don't have to monetize everything either. Because we talked a little bit about how not everything out there is something that can be bought with money. And there's a couple of really obvious ones, like you can't buy self-discipline. You can't bring your loved ones back if they've passed. Like no amount of money is going to do that. But I think that being intentional about the life you want to live is the most important thing because there's different kinds of wealth. And while I might not have huge buckets of money like, say, people like Elon Musk, who has $1 trillion now. I do have a family that I have really good relationships with, and not everyone has that. And that's a different kind
Yeah.
of wealth. And it's up to me to make sure that I preserve it. And if I decide that I want to pursue something else, I also have to be aware that in order to pick something up, you have to put something else down.
Mm.
So you got to be careful with what you're putting down sometimes. And it's
That was
okay to not be as rich if you're going to be rich in other domains.
Yeah, that was actually something I saw Layla Hermosi talking about now that she's having her baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, sad to disappoint you. She's like, a bunch of people keep saying like, oh my God, I can't wait to see you do it all. You're going to like get super fit again, super fast. And then you're going to keep running the business. She's like, I think I might take off a couple years
Yeah.
and I'm going to have another baby probably pretty fast. So I'm probably not going to bounce back. And you could tell she was like struggling with that because people projected onto her what they thought she was going to do.
Yeah.
And she's publicly voicing that ain't it. And it is so scary when you've like been this person for so long. And especially I can only imagine her with such visibility and so many people eyes on. It's like, wow, you're making a decision to go from like, I work my face off 24/7 and like, I don't have a life. I don't go visit family. And like, this is my season two. So I'm going to be a mother and that's enough for me. And that's my priority.
Well,
Like,
this is something I want
so
everyone to
cool.
understand. This is a lesson that took me a while to realize. You can reinvent yourself at any time, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
need permission from anybody to do that.
Yeah, no permission required.
The only thing you have to keep in mind is that you have to live with the choice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because it's like you might say, like we're talking about our kids and stuff, they're only this age for so long. And okay, maybe there's this business opportunity that's being offered to you right now. But if you don't do it, maybe it's like a partnership or something, and they're going to get another partner.
Mm-hmm.
While your kid's X years old and you want to spend time with them, you have to decide, like you said, pick one up and put one down
Yeah.
because something's going to suffer. And for me, like I know I hear everybody like, oh, this is just an excuse. Hey, good on you if you've been able to figure it out. But I know what my capabilities are at this point. And for right now, with what I'm capable of and what's happening with me, I know where my priorities are. And then all the other stuff, like it will come to whatever level is able right now.
Yeah. Well, and not everybody's equal in capacity or even desire, the things we want, the outcomes. And so perfect life for somebody might look like something that's not really that great for somebody else. When I was a child, I only had two ambitions. I wanted to grow up to be a good person. I wanted to be a dad. And so
You
I
already
really
won.
genuinely believe that being a father is the greatest privilege of my life. And so I
It's
really
so
want to get
awesome.
that right. But I do also understand that I have an obligation to learn skills that I can pass on to him so he can do better than I did. And the other pitfall is that really successful people might have different types of trials to go through, because if you always have everything given to you, the first time you actually struggle in your life, it's going to be a lot harder because you've never built up any kind of conditioning. And so it's everyone has problems. There's no life in the entire world, no matter how rich you are, that's problem free. And so you got to learn how to approach those on your own and resolve them. But I'd like to learn more about your book. We've talked a little bit about not needing permission to do things, to change your life, and the fact that you just have to live with the consequences of your decisions. But what exactly is your book about besides what we've covered in the title?
Yeah, I mean, it goes through like different scenarios in my life whenever I ask for permission, and it can be in different, different things where it's relationships. You got different relationships with people, and sometimes you don't feel worthy, so you're just like trying so hard for that relationship. Sorry, I started thinking about this one particular lady. Got stuck in my crawl. And I'm like, because I've tried like 4 times with her over like a period of like it's been like 3 years. Maybe she's got some personal development. Nope. Let's stop trying. Just quit it. What is your problem? Bad. But it goes through like the things that I've done before to like ask for permission, even if it's not you're not going to someone and being like, "Hey, can I be a part?" Technically, your actions are doing that. you're not self-selecting like this is what I'm going to do and then we'll see what life reacts like, but instead you go around and you poll every person. So what do you think? How about you? All right, let's put all of this together and figure out if it's approved.
Yeah.
And it's you're never going to make everybody happy, and there's no right or wrong answer. Like my husband, yeah.
I heard a
What's
quote
it?
recently that I really like concerning this is that you can be the sweetest, most tasty peach in the entire world. The problem is not everybody likes peaches.
That's my husband. He does not like peaches. So you're
So,
right.
and that kind of applies to everything.
Yeah. 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 And it's like my husband started like saying this so many times that I'm like, I love this. I don't know where you got it, or maybe you made it. I hope you did because I want to keep it. But he would always say like, make a decision and make it right. Make a decision and make it right. Because I would always get in my head
Mm.
and talk about it again and again, and just when you thought I was done. So I've adopted that, and really over this past since March when I'm no longer working for someone else, I'm like full steam ahead. Make a decision, make it right. No analysis paralysis. It doesn't do you any favors.
Well, I find that a lot of times analysis paralysis, at least in my experience, had to do with feeling shameful about myself and my own self-image. And the thing about shame is it's a paralyzing force. It's not a motive force. It doesn't actually push you to change. And so you got to get around that. Give yourself a bit of grace and then just go out and do things that are kind of messy. Make it exist first, then you can make it better.
And it's so interesting, like looking back at the things that you're ashamed of, like a year ago or something. And I remember I was at this one women's mastermind, and we were doing like this yacht party. It was super cool. I was like, pinkies up. It was, I know, I was like, eh. And this one lady, she was super successful, and she wanted everybody to do this one like exercise together where you could share one of four things, and it was like a great accomplishment you've done, or something that terrifies you, or two other things that I don't remember because I picked the scary one. I was like, all right, you're getting some personal growth today. You're on a yacht, you're getting it.
You can't get away. Captive audience.
You can't run, you get seasick, you probably shouldn't stand up. So I was sitting at the table with these ladies, and I didn't realize that one of the ladies that was there was one of the speakers. And I probably wouldn't have done this if I would have known, because I would have been too afraid. But I didn't even recognize her because she was like super chilled out and didn't look like the same person. And so I was like, okay, so guys, the thing that I'm really, really scared to tell. And they're, of course, like, yes, tell us more. Like, what are you doing? I was like, whenever I was a child, we didn't do this on purpose. We did this because we were poor. We lived in an RV and we didn't have an address part of the time. And we were just broke. And I didn't know if I had food like some days. And it was terrible. And they're like, okay, but what was the embarrassing part? I was like, what? I was like, you don't feel like you're going to get the poor cooties on you? They're like, no. And one lady's like, I had a bankruptcy. I see that hand.
You like hold your pearls, like Mrs. Davis.
Well, it was just so funny because everybody started like saying all the stuff that they were deeply mortified over, and we were all like, it's all good.
Well, we blow things up in our heads. They become much bigger and scarier than they actually have to be a lot of the time. What is it Alex Hormozy says? He says that fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. He might have even gotten that from Layla.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he credited her because she's like, hey, that's mine.
Yeah. But I found that to be true as well. When I first started the podcast, before the camera turned on, I was sitting there trembling. I was literally shaking. I was so nervous about the fact that I was going to try to do this thing. And then I got talking to the guy that was my first interview, and it was just a normal conversation. And I look back at that and I was like, why was I so nervous? But we tend to do that. We blow things up in our heads until they're these big dragons we have to slay, and really they're not.
I know. It's so funny. But now that we know that we do that, we can kind of get a little meta, and we're just like, come on. Like you've done this whole song and dance before. Mm-hmm. You know you're gonna be okay. So just shake and sweat and do whatever you need to do, but it's happening.
No, it's really good. And cool. It's empowering too. to face your fears and understand, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Yep. I still don't want to go skydiving, though. I don't want to jump out of any airplane, so please don't challenge me.
I've actually done that. I had to do that at least once because it was on my bucket list. And let me tell you, it was the most intense thing I've ever done. And I couldn't sleep for like 2 days afterwards because I was still high on adrenaline. But I did it.
Oh, hats off to you. Oh my goodness, or hat on. I'm gonna get my hat. No, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I'm like, oh man, I hope like my assignment in this world isn't like you must skydive to reach enlightenment. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
we talked about exposure therapy a little bit. I think it was probably before the call, but that was one of the reasons I started doing entrepreneurship, was to help me get into spaces where I was going to be scared and get around the fact that I was scared, because most things we're scared of aren't going to kill us.
Yeah.
And so it's, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that.
And it is what it is.
It is. So, but yeah, I've really enjoyed our conversation today. Is there anything that you would be able to suggest to other people for resources or learning material for people that are interested in doing what you're doing, learn how to become a reviewer for Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's so much information just to get started just on YouTube. If you search up on there, one of the tools I use is Viral View, and they have a lot of free training just because, like, they're like, oh, if I train you, maybe you'll use my tool. So you can get started pretty simply just by going on there. And I think they have like a free version too. So if you get started, I'm like, if somebody was like super broke, this is what I would recommend for them to do ASAP, because you can start for totally free, and you probably got stuff from Amazon sitting around your house, and you can use the little lens feature on your phone, take a picture of it, and it pulls up the product listing so you know you got the right thing. And then it's like a 60-day pay lag. So in 60 days from now, depending on how fast you need money, maybe don't do that, but at least you can get stuff building in the background.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things about money is that you're planting seeds all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seeds take time to grow sometimes. It's just whether you're taking action or not. Not everything's going to work out, but the more let's use a fishing analogy. The guy who has his line in the water for 12 hours is going to catch more fish than the guy who is preparing his tackle box for 10 hours and only has his line in the water for 2 hours. Just get your line in the water. You're going to not catch fish for a while, but at some point, the odds of success just keep getting incremental, and you're going to get a big break.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to know if there is a specific place people should reach out to you in case they want to connect with you.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. That's my primary platform, just as Jessica Lauren Vine. So hit me up there for hilarity and life lessons. So have some fun while we're learning and goofing off a little bit, because life's too short to be serious all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my little boy, he's a very happy child, but he's like, no nonsense. If you were trying to be silly with him, he's like, no, stop that.
Like, we've got things to do, Dad. We have the Legos to build. We've got games to play. None of this.
We went to Alaska for a family vacation this year, and I bought an octopus hat at the Sea Life Center in Seward.
Cute.
And he thinks it's hilarious to watch Dad wear that, but he refuses to wear it himself. And so I thought that was hysterical.
That's so cute. That's
One
so cute.
last
I
thing
would totally
before
wear
we're
that hat
done.
too.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good. I just said I would totally wear that hat with you. So don't worry. Next
Yeah,
time.
well, like I said, if you're normal, you're just like everyone else. You got to do some silliness sometimes. But one of the last things I wanted to ask you before you go, is your book available for people to buy on Amazon, or is there somewhere else that they need to go to purchase a copy?
Yeah, Amazon. And then too, if people want the first chapter for free, they can just DM me the word gold and let me know that they've heard about it on the podcast, and I'll send them the first chapter for free.
Sounds good. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for being here. We really enjoyed the conversation. And for everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Pot of Gold podcast, and we'll see you again next time.